Alright, well, starting a new podcast series, what does it take to create an epic opening jingle? And how should it sound? Hi, I'm Jente Kater from Voice Booking, and in this video I will explain the essence of what jingles are about. Some call it jingles, others use terms like audio imaging or sound logos. And if you look at it from a perspective of sound logo, you can make a nice connection with a visual logo. Good brands have well thought out brand logos. Good podcast requires a sort of audio logo, a good jingle that establishes the podcast as something to take really seriously. In most podcasts, you have an opening jingle, a closing jingle, sometimes a few bumpers and sound elements here and there. And when it comes to the opening jingle, it would be great if your listeners immediately think, hey, this is something really worth listening to. Or, hey, that's my favorite podcast again. Needless to say, with podcasts, people listen from the start of an episode. So the opening jingle is the most important one of all, right? Okay, regarding this point, you can compare it with TV series. Blockbusters like Game of Thrones, Mad Men, and Suits, they all have a really strong opening tunes. What do good opening jingles have in common? Well, think of it like the entrance of a nightclub, a hip nightclub. You knock on a black door, someone opens it, you see a staircase going up, and as you go up those stairs, you see the light at the end, and the music is getting louder and louder, and you think, this is going to be fun, I guess. And that's what you need, a sort of suspense, in a way that it fits your format. Once you have that opening jingle created, you can create extractions of it for the closing tune, the bumpers, and separate sound elements. The opening jingle should tell what's in it for you. So, for example, you can name the podcast and add a short tagline. Or even better, create some kind of elevator pitch in about 4 to 7 lines. Then choosing the voiceover. Try to find that specific tone of voice that fits in your format in an extraordinary way. Now, question. Imagine you create a podcast for an A brand. Those big brands, the kinds of brands that have their own voice talent, who does all of the commercials and voicemails, etc., etc. Does that mean he or she should be the voiceover for the podcast jingles? Well, not always. Here at Voice Booking, we create lots of podcast jingles, and we see most podcasts are made for niche markets. And maybe your brand voice is a young-sounding voice, exciting, but the podcast is for a part of your older audience. And in that case, then an older voice is more logical to use. And remember, you're creating branded content, so in many cases you're creating a brand of its own, which needs a tone of voice of its own. So, as a company, you have your visual logo, and for a podcast, you need your audio logo. It will cost you some extra money, yes, sure, but do make that investment. It's worth it. Good, well-created jingles will give people the feeling that they are going to listen to something that's worth listening to, and they will set you apart from the rest. And you know, getting on that top list of iTunes, it isn't easy. And that's it for this video. I'm really curious. What's your favorite podcast? Just let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more of my videos, go to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/voicebooking.com. Thanks for watching.